use as far as pulling this car over. Also speed and reckless driving. Specifics are a little hard to find right now, but that's definitely something we're going to follow up on as we are on the westbound 60 approaching the coming into the Montebello area, and as we said, if we continue on this direction, on this heading, we will approach the 710. The driver will have the option to go northbound 710 back to the 210. He's kind of been favoring this the 210 freeway, the whole San Gabriel Valley corridor, so that's an option for you. But if we continue westbound, as we said, we will approach the downtown area as we're really favoring the right side. Oh, very close to that other vehicle here. It looks like we're taking an off-ramp here, and this is going to be the off-ramp for, we'll try and get this crossed for you very shortly here. That's going to be Pomona Boulevard. So we're off the freeway on Pomona Boulevard. That'll make it very interesting as these high speeds don't translate well from highways onto these surface streets. So now we're slowing down a little bit. Rob, if we can get the speedometer back on, we'll be able to see that we've gone from about 140 miles an hour back down to 50, 60 miles an hour. And this appears to be Wilcox Avenue. This is more of a residential area. We could get into Monterey Park if we continue in this direction. But now that we're off the freeway, it's really a good sign that this driver is deciding to slow down and not use those high speeds that we were seeing on the freeway on these surface streets. We're picking up a little bit of speed here. As I look back, I'm trying to see if any of those CHP units maintained a close distance behind this vehicle as we make a fast left turn, looks like from Wilcox to Elmsgate in this very residential neighborhood, now onto Garfield. Garfield's one of their use various freeways, stay on them for a few minutes, and then get off for a little bit, and then turn back around and get back onto the freeway. So I really think that's what we're going to see here now. If we continue through Garfield past the 60, there's really nothing more but residential Montebello and East LA. But there we go. We went under the bridge, and one of the CHP units is really close behind him, and there you have it, the quick speed. All of a sudden, this driver picking up speed going eastbound now. It looks like this is going to be Wilcox Avenue, still not on the freeway, but still using a high rate of speed. As soon as this driver saw that CHP unit, he decided to floor it. There's another CHP unit on the other side of that bridge, and that driver sees him, makes another left turn on Wilcox Avenue again. And it's almost like we're seeing a bit of a cat and mouse game as we're back on this road that the driver used earlier to exit from the 60 freeway. And we're going to come up on another intersection that the driver passed earlier, still going at a high rate of speed. Luckily, traffic isn't too bad here, but it's just a really scary scene, passing right on the right side of those other vehicles, pretty close to sideswiping them. And it looks like we're going to get back onto the freeway now. I believe that's the on-ramp back to the 60 freeway westbound as we continue towards downtown. Eventually, the next big interchange is going to be the 6710 freeway interchange.
All right, joining me now is Michelle Fisher, our reporter, who is helping us out here with our coverage of this high-speed pursuit. A Corvette going 140 miles an hour on the freeway, now back on the freeway.
Yes, and I heard you ask what violation he possibly was being pulled over for in the first place, but do we know that information yet, or?
No plate.
Okay.
We presume it's no rear plate because I don't think they even have front plates on a Corvette, although you're supposed to have front plates on all cars. And of course, obviously after that, the speed, and it's just been amazing. The level of speed here and the fact that when he was on the surface streets, Gabe, he couldn't. I mean, he could out accelerate the pursuing officers without any question. This thing can go 0 to 60 in probably 3 seconds. So whatever he's able to, the car is going to take him a long way in terms of trying to get away. But it's the level of skill that he has behind the wheel that may determine whether or not this ends in tragedy.
Yeah, Mark, so we believe this is going to be a Chevy Corvette, obviously. I believe Rob, our photographer, did a zoom in earlier, and we think this is going to be a Z06, and those vehicles have a top speed of 205 miles an hour. So if he decides to go 205 miles an hour, we're going to definitely have difficulty keeping up with him in Air 7 HD. Luckily, we haven't seen quite exactly those speeds, but still, these speeds are incredibly excessive. We'll turn on the speedometer again and see where he's at now. Definitely favoring those triple digits, still over 100 miles an hour. Not as fast as we were going earlier with those 140 miles an hour, and that could be because of the curvature of this 60 freeway. On the 210, you have a lot of long straightaways that just go for miles and miles, and the 60 freeway, a little bit of an older freeway that kind of curves left and right. And I would think that, you know, any smart driver would think to make those curves safely and get around other traffic, you might want to let off the gas just a little bit. And I think that's what we're seeing here with this driver. Still, excessive rates of speed. Going around a school bus there, continuing as we approach the, this is going to be the East LA interchange. We already passed the 710 freeway. As I was looking down on some other information, we're going through the East LA interchange. It looks like we're staying on the part of the 60 freeway that eventually turns into the 10, and this is a complicated interchange with lots of options really for this driver to take, but it looks like we're going to stick with this part of the 60 freeway that turns into the 10 freeway as we kind of go around the south side of downtown. Kind of slowing down a little bit. Look at that. We're under triple digits now, which is kind of new for this pursuit, but there is a lot of volume here. And as we were saying, a lot of chances for the freeway to kind of curve left and right. This is the part of the 10 freeway earlier that was closed a couple of months ago due to that fire into the freeway, just to give you an idea of where we are now. And there was a very erratic maneuver trying to skate around some other vehicles there. As we said, the volume is building, and it's going to make this a little bit more difficult for this driver to maintain those top speeds. As we widen out, you could see that those CHP units, they're doing a good job at staying as close as they can behind this suspect, but they have to keep safety in mind and do what they can to keep the general public safe as we continue to watch this Chevy Corvette, blue in color, out of Pomona, continue these high rates of speed. We're almost through downtown now, so we've gone from Rancho Cucamonga to downtown LA in about 15 minutes, which is just incredible when you think about what a normal commute from Rancho Cucamonga to downtown would take. As you can see there, that's the CHP air unit that has come out of Fullerton Airport. They were able to catch up to this pursuit, and you can see that other CHP ground unit doing their best to keep up with this pursuit on the ground. They're not going to let this guy go just because of the erratic driving and the erratic behavior that we've seen from this guy. Now we are going to approach the 10 and the 110 interchange. It looks like this guy's staying on the far left side, so as we come up on some traffic, we're going to go under the overpasses there, and we're going to come out the other side. It looks like we're going to be committed to that. Oh, and we jumped the gore point onto a part of the 10 freeway that's actually more of a side connector ramp that you can use from the 10 to reconnect back, use from the 110 actually to reconnect back to the 10 freeway.
Well,
so kind of a pointless maneuver. Here. A little bit of a construction zone there. You're absolutely right, Mark. And there's an off-ramp, Hoover Street, but we're not going to take it. This guy saw the construction, running over a cone there,
I think
and
the cone's
we're staying
stuck under him too.
On this 10
there
freeway. Yeah, you're exactly right, and there the cone goes. Now we're using the right shoulder. Now we're back on that number 4 lane. Still high rates of speed, westbound 10. We'll be in Santa Monica in a couple of minutes.
Yes, as fast as he's going, although, you know, the freeway and the traffic volume that he's seeing probably makes it more difficult for him. Certainly, it's probably a lot safer for people that are
the gore point.
Yeah, safer for if he was on the surface streets and the traffic that he would be running into there, which, as I say that, he
there he
kind of gets off. Yeah.
Yeah, just as we started talking about those next options, if we continue down the 10, this guy exits.
He
got off on Normandy and back onto an on-ramp. Looks like we're going eastbound 10 now. So it does appear that this driver maybe thought that West LA was a little too unfamiliar for him, and he's going to come back eastbound on the 10 because that might be a part of town that this guy's more familiar with. And now that he's back on the freeway, we'll probably see those high rates of speed, those triple digits. But now you have to wonder, this guy's hopped a couple of gore points. There's got to be a little bit of damage to that vehicle now, and it might not be driving as well as it used to drive. So I don't know if we're going to see quite as high speeds as we saw earlier in this pursuit, but we're still seeing erratic driving. Crossing another gore point there, this is just a dangerous situation, Mark and Michelle.
Wow. Well, I'm wondering how much of this is joyride and how much of this is, you know, we don't know if the car's been is stolen. We don't have that sort of information yet. All we had was a vehicle code violation that started this, no plate on the car. and they tried to pull him over. Pomona police tried to pull him over, or her, the driver, and the driver took off in this blue Corvette Z06, top speed 205 miles an hour. Now, my question, and I think our car guy Dave Coons would be able to tell this, a lot of vehicles that may be high performance, Michelle, they have governors on them. They're electronically limited to somewhere around 150 miles an hour, which is still a ridiculous speed. But they don't. They're unless that governor is removed, they are unable to travel that fast. But 150 is still plenty fast.
Yeah, we've seen this one, and I kind of came in as this had gotten underway. But I've seen this one since I've been on the desk here at like about 140-ish. Yeah. So if that is a governor there that limits it to 150, then getting close to that. But as you said, I mean, 150 is still plenty fast, and especially when you consider the congestion here and just cars and pedestrians and what have you on areas like the surface street that we're seeing this Corvette driver on right now. All
right, downtown LA now. So this becomes tricky as far as our ability to watch this, right, Gabe? As I say that, there he goes.
Right. So this becomes very difficult because we have to dance around some of the towers here, including that now famous tower that is marked up with all that graffiti here in downtown LA. We are going to maneuver Air 7 HD around as best we can. The difficult thing also with this pursuit is that CHP wasn't right behind him. So we're going to hope that the air unit from CHP is able to keep an eye on him. We just heard Pico and Grand as an intersection called out. So we're going to zoom in on that intersection there. Grand and 11th now. We're hearing. So we're going to keep hearing law enforcement call out these intersections. It's a good thing that air unit was able to keep an eye on this. And I'm going to toss it back down to you guys as we maneuver Air 7 around to Olympic and Olive. On Olympic through Olive, we're hearing. We're going to maneuver Air 7 HD around to try and get around these buildings and get you guys a view of this guy again.
All right, so that it becomes tricky, and we have seen in the past, Michelle, pursuits that have ended in downtown LA because they get in and out of these buildings, and not only we lose sight of them, but the police air units lose sight of them if there's enough separation between the pursuit vehicle and the ground units. They can get away.
And maybe this was the driver's goal or plan, was to make it to downtown Los Angeles, where he or she figured they would have a little bit more cover under the buildings and be able to weave in and out to evade police. I'm sure is the goal at this point.
Yeah, so now it really raises a lot of questions about what may have been the motive for this driver in the beginning. What I noticed along the way when we were on the 60 freeway, that the driver was going about 100 miles an hour, which is crazy, but he could have gone a lot faster. There was some pretty open freeway in front of the driver, and they chose not to.
Left on 5th.
Oh, we got him?
Here, and we'll just watch him cross. There he is. Yeah, so Mark, we've worked with our assignment desk, and we believe we do have the driver now. He's on 5th Street going westbound, so we're going to try and stay on the south side of downtown so we can kind of see him through the buildings as he goes through some of these intersections. He was favoring north and southbound roads, and now we're kind of going on these east and westbound roads. So as we move Air 7 HD a little bit to the west, hopefully we'll be able to see him continue down some of these roads. But it looks like he might have made a turn on Hill Street, and we're going to move a little bit closer to Hill Street. To the north. We're being told he went north on Hill Street, and we're going to move Air 7 HD a little closer to that and see if we can catch him again.
All right. Well, and you've just seen, it's an illustration of how tricky this can be. If it's hard for us, it's also hard for the police who are trying to pursue this driver and catch them when they are able to maneuver in and out of these buildings, in these very tall buildings, and just be out of sight for a few seconds at a time. That's all it takes.
Right. And what I will say to the person's credit is we're not seeing them kind of fly through those intersections. The couple times they were going through those intersections there, they did kind of make sure nobody was in the way before they plowed through to get to where they're going. So maybe safety is a small part of what they're keeping in mind after they've done all of this, flying down the highway and leading authorities on a high-speed chase.
And certainly in downtown LA, this time of night, on a Thursday night, you were going to have pedestrians. You're going to have people out.
Right.
It's become a social hub. There's a lot of places to go. Plus, there's just the normal population that lives in downtown LA that are going to be out. And so that does raise the danger level when you got people crossing the street pedestrians out doing their business out there, and so this does place those people in some level of danger, and it is good to see that he did slow down.
Yeah. And we see a unit there, but we're still trying to make contact and put eyes on the driver and figure out where he or she has kind of disappeared to, if you will, behind these buildings there in downtown Los Angeles. Last we saw, it was going north on Hill Street.
Right.
Yeah.
North on Hill, but then there's any number of places you can make a turn. It looks like the law enforcement helicopter is trying to find this driver as well. We don't see tight orbits right now, which means that we're not sure if they have a good fix on the driver. And so it may be that this blue Corvette, this Corvette Z06 model, which is a souped-up version of a souped-up car, may have escaped. And that is kind of a tactic that has worked in the past. They get into downtown LA, they maybe go into a parking garage.
Cars on the roads to, to kind of have authorities be confused as to which car is which. So that will help authorities. But as you mentioned, I guess, sometimes it gets to the point where they just have to call it. And you certainly have a lot more experience with these high speed pursuits, than I do. So I don't know if you can speak to kind of when that happens or at what point they do that.
Yeah, well, Gabe Santos in Air 7 HD, what's your status right now? It sounds like we're pulling back from this thing as well.
Well, we don't believe this is a complete loss yet because the other helicopters over this keep getting glimpses of this guy. So we're trying to work with the CHP airship, and we know that LAPD officers on the ground, even though this started as this has been a CHP pursuit, were also getting involved because they saw the suspect flying by. So we do keep getting reports of glimpses, but now we're hearing that the suspect may have pulled into a parking garage. And as we know, if you've seen a couple of these lately, parking garages usually mean the end for these pursuits. We're going to try and find out exactly which parking garage that is, but usually when someone pulls into a parking garage and they're not being chased with officers directly behind them, they can pull in and hop out and take off a jacket or something and look like a completely different person. There's a look at City Hall for you. But we're going to try and find out exactly which parking garage this vehicle pulled into. But definitely downtown, incredibly difficult for pursuits. Luckily, one of the law enforcement helicopters, they're at a lower altitude, so they're able to keep close and tight orbits. Us at a higher altitude, we kind of have to strategically position ourselves on, on one end of downtown or another, so we can see the suspect kind of cross through the buildings. Because if we try and keep up and follow the suspect in and around the buildings, that just gets too dangerous. So we're going to stay over this and keep monitoring the law enforcement transmissions, and we're going to find out exactly where this suspect went, and we're going to see if law enforcement is actually going to move in on that parking structure, because that'll be the next thing. They will